My friends, imagine this scene. It's the middle of the night and darkness swallows the Caribbean Sea. An ultra-fast speedboat, secretly built with fiberglass to avoid surface radars, cuts through the waves carrying millions of dollars in narcotics. The traffickers on board operating radio silence, feeling untouchable, protected by the vastness of the ocean and the absence of moonlight. But what they don't know is that their fate has already been sealed. Almost 5 kilometers above their heads, hidden in the stratosphere, a predator watches their every move. The aircraft's infrared sensors are reading the thermal signature of the boat's engines and the body heat of the crew members. In a fraction of a second, the ocean around the vessel boils, torn apart by a hail of explosive 30mm shells. The boat and the cargo are pulverized. The cartel is dead before they even hear the roar of the turbines up above. What you are going to witness today is the ultimate proof that the diplomatic gloves have come off. The skies over Latin America and the Caribbean no longer belong to the drug lords. The United States Department of Defense has activated its most feared killing machine, operating invisibly to wipe out transnational organized crime. My friends, the war has begun. The military power that was used to annihilate insurgents in the mountains of Afghanistan is now coming back to our hemisphere. We are talking about the rise of the titanium guillotine. This is our ultimate metaphor for today: titanium guillotine. A technological blade, relentless, heavy and invisible, that hovers silently over the board and comes down with lethal force to cut off the financial and logistical routes that sustain the narco state. The hunt has reached a new level, my friends. It's no longer about a Coast Guard boat blaring sirens and asking you to stop. 67 cartel vessels have already been blown to pieces at sea since last September. According to the Pentagon's own audits, the rule of engagement now is silent obliteration. The prior warning is no longer given over the radio. It comes in the form of white-hot metal, tearing through the darkness. The world changed on January 20th, 2025. But now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell and leave a like on the video, because it takes a lot of work to make this. Now, to understand the absolute panic that is gripping organized crime at this very moment, we need to dissect the anatomy of this titanium guillotine. The AC-130J Ghost Rider is not an adapted cargo plane. It is the most lethal ground attack platform ever conceived by human military engineering, operated by the United States Air Force Special Operations Command. We're talking about a monster with a maximum takeoff weight of 74 tons, powered by 4 massive Rolls-Royce turbines that tear through the skies at almost 670 kilometers per hour. This titanic structure has an autonomous flight range of 4,800 kilometers, which can be extended indefinitely with aerial refueling, allowing the aircraft to spend entire nights orbiting at an altitude of 8 to 8.5 kilometers. It's invisible and inaudible to those on the ground, but what freezes the blood of enemies is the arsenal packed in its fuselage. The Ghost Rider carries an M100 205mm cannon firing from its left side. This is not an oversized machine gun. The M102 is literally a heavy land artillery howitzer, a weapon originally towed by trucks in the Vietnam War, which American engineering managed to fit inside an airplane. The energy released by firing this weapon is so violent that the entire plane recoils in the air. A single fragmentation round fired from this cannon, guided by the aircraft's synthetic aperture radars, completely annihilates a cocaine refining complex hidden in the rainforest. Before the gate guards even notice the change in the wind, The cartel doesn't have time to react, destroy evidence, or escape. The infrastructure is wiped off the map. And next to the howitzer rests the 30mm Gal-23 cannon, an automatic meat grinder that spits armor-piercing rounds in a continuous stream. But the brute force of this monster has gained the brain of the digital age. The A-130J is equipped to launch small diameter bombs, SDB. These are 113 kg warheads, designed to operate in saturated environments. They don't just freefall. They glide and correct their own course using GPS coordinates and laser illumination. And the system now integrates artificial intelligence for target recognition. A faction leader can be surgically obliterated while dining on the balcony of his fortress, without the room in the neighboring house or the school across the street suffering a single scratch. It's the fusion of explosive power with the precision of a scalpel. The lethality doesn't stop there, my friends. To further shield the operation and ensure the elimination of fast-moving targets, the aircraft carries Hellfire missiles on the wing pylons and an integrated system with 10 rear launch tubes for Griffin missiles. That's the sting from behind. If a convoy of the cartel's armored pickups tries to escape down a dirt road under the cover of the nighttime jungle, the Griffin missiles are launched from the rear of the plane, deploy their fins in the air, lock onto the heat of the vehicle's engines and fall vertically, simultaneously wiping out the escape attempt. This machine was baptized in blood in the mountains of Afghanistan, starting in 2019, hunting terrorists holed up in caves. Now, the fact that the United States is deploying this brutal capability to the skies of South America marks the end of law enforcement operations and the beginning of the technological war of extermination against the narco-state. My friends, Lula, Moraes, no one in Brazil believed this would happen, and it's happening right now. Now, if you think this topic is important and want more Brazilians to have access to it, support this video now. Use the super thanks below or use the information that's appearing on your screen. Now, come down from the sky and join me in the command room, because the war machine doesn't operate in a diplomatic vacuum. Last Wednesday, the geopolitical gravity of the Americas shifted. The United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth landed in Panama. Yes, my friends, in Panama. The official itinerary of his trip says much more than any press release. In a single afternoon, he met with the Panamanian president and held closed-door meetings with the top security officials of Colombia. And he personally marched into a US Army jungle warfare school, which had been locked and abandoned since early 1999. Those iron doors were reopened, and the cobwebs gave way to loaded assault rifles. This mobilization is the backbone of the Panamax 2026 exercise. We are not talking about routine training. 19 nations raised their flags in Panama: Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, as well as allies from outside the hemisphere, like the United Kingdom and the Netherlands. They all sent their elite troops. The United States Southern Command described the event as the largest joint command post exercise in the entire history of the Western Hemisphere. 19 flags side by side, united around the defense of the Panama Canal and the eradication of transnational networks. And when 19 sovereign armies synchronize their radio frequencies and draw up joint interdiction plans, that's not a patrol exercise. The hunt for the cartels has ceased to be a matter of local public security and has become a continental coalition war. But the major strategic quake happened behind the scenes, far from the media cameras. The United States Army took advantage of the significance of that meeting to carry out a structural change that the international system pretended not to see. 9 days before the Secretary of Defense arrived, the Pentagon officially ended the temporary task force called Southern Spear, which focused only on naval interception and surveillance of Venezuela. Look what happened! In its place, they set up a monster defensive command, the Western Hemisphere Joint Task Force. Look at the size of that! They implemented for the first time a command structure led by 4-star generals on Panamanian soil. What used to be a temporary and seasonal operation has just become a permanent and lethal operations base in the heart of the Americas. The tactical reading of this maneuver is clear as day. The United States will no longer play cops and robbers in the Caribbean Sea. They have set up a permanent headquarters to manage the entire hemisphere and orchestrate the titanium guillotine. The rules of engagement have been rewritten and the safety locks have been removed. Comente here. Isn't it scary to ally now with Caribbean and Middle Eastern dictatorships? If you think that air firepower dropping from the stratosphere is the end of the line for organized crime, you have no idea what's being prepared on the damp and suffocating ground of the Panamanian tropical jungle. Modern warfare demands absolute mastery of both domains, the celestial control of aircraft and the organic brutality of infantry. The Joint Task Force didn't set up a 4-star command just to stare at radar screens in the air conditioning. On the scorching soil of Central America, American Special Forces operators, Green Berets, SEAL teams and Delta Force are there, period. The Jungle Operations School is forging specialized units for close quarters hunting. The Overwatch Doctrine, where the heavy aircraft circles silently while small squads infiltrate the area, is the ultimate nightmare for guerrilla tactics. They are using military working dogs trained to track explosives and neutralize sentries without making a single sound. And entire platoons specialized in hazardous materials and chemical response, anticipating the fact that the major drug labs have become highly toxic and booby-trapped industrial complexes. What unfolds on the jungle floor is the complete blockade of escape routes. My friends, drug trafficking has historically relied on dense terrain, hidden caves, and the tree canopy to hide its labs and submersibles. They used to dock in small coves to refuel their vessels out of sight of conventional maritime radars. But now, the forest no longer offers shelter. The thermal eye of the AC-130J, combined with the elite infantry boots on the ground, creates absolute interdiction. If they run to the open sea, the armed MQ-9 Reaper drones and the Ghost Rider's cannons reduce them to confetti. But if they try to retreat and hide in the jungle's humidity, the coalition forces led by dogs and assault rifles advance, cutting through the territory. It's a siege where the cartel's financial, logistical, and vital lifelines drops to absolute zero. But so you won't be manipulated by shallow narratives claiming these operations in Latin America are isolated events, we need to broaden our radar and analyze the global theater of operations. The military power that the United States projects in the Southern Hemisphere is a direct reflection of the tensions that are fracturing the security architecture across the rest of the planet. The control of logistical arteries and waterways is what sustains or brings down empires. Now, shift your gaze with me to the dark and dangerous waters of Eastern Europe. In the dead of night, Ukraine carried out a brutal attack against the Russian military fleet. And they didn't hit just any isolated port. They attacked the Novorossiysk naval base. For you to understand the gravity, this was the safe fallback base where Vladimir Putin's commanders fled with their ships after the Crimean Bay became a steel graveyard. The tactical impact of this? 4 formidable Russian warships, including the frigates Admiral Makarov and Admiral Essen, were shattered in their own anchored berths. And the weapon of choice was not imported from Allied powers. The Ukrainians used the so-called Palia Palyanitsia, a new insane class of drones powered by jet engines, designed and built in-house to dive into Russian air defenses. My friends, the second largest navy in Europe is being decimated in its own safe harbor by robotic missiles. The Kremlin is cornered, realizing that decentralized technology surpasses the brute force of tonnage. Now, travel across the world with me to the island that is the flashpoint of World War III, Taiwan. During the Hangguang 42 military exercise simulating the imminent invasion by the People's Liberation Army of China, projected for a fateful window in the year 2027, the Taipei government made an extreme decision that terrified the citizens. They deliberately reduced mobile internet speeds across the capital to just 256 kilobytes per second for half an hour. It was only possible to send text messages, and barely that. While the air raid sirens howled and the population was ordered to take shelter in the depths of the underground subway stations, the nation experienced a digital blackout, which is what 250 kilobytes looks like in the real world. It means that even simple WhatsApp texts take a long time to be delivered. Images won't load, video calls drop immediately. Financial transfer apps crashed, access to radars and news collapsed. Taiwan has experienced firsthand the absolute isolation and tactical blindness that will occur when China destroys the undersea fiber optic cables. They are training to fight in the darkness of electronic warfare, and it is exactly this struggle for control of global chokepoints that connects these events. And look, if this content is important to you, support us using the information on the screen and the tip jar down below. Because while rebels, Red Sea roaches sponsored by dirty money from Tehran, attack cargo ships, and Donald Trump raises the highest alert about who will set the rules. In the Strait of Hormuz, the throat through which the world's oil flows, the Pentagon sent the 19 flags to Panama. The American message is imperative. The Middle East may be burning and the Pacific may be on the verge of detonation. But the vital artery that cuts through the Americas, the Panama Canal, will not be touched, blocked, or used for transnational terrorism by China or Russia under any circumstances. And speaking of China and Russia, we are in an election period in Brazil, and this channel can be summarily taken down for what we say here. That's why I created a backup channel. Link in the description, in the QR code, in the pinned comment. Go there and make sure that if I'm taken down from here, we'll meet there on our channel, Shield Your Mind. Don't forget, subscribe there. We are witnessing the closing of the most complex logistical siege ever orchestrated on our continent. And the supreme tactical advantage of the United States doesn't lie only in Ghost Rider's firepower. Modern warfare demands a layered defense ecosystem. When the AC-130J takes off from an unmarked runway in Central America to hunt down drug cartel leaders, it never ever operates alone. Above it, in a stratospheric dome, 5th generation F-35 Lightning fighters and veteran F-16 Fighting Falcons form a gigantic invisible protective shield. Equipped with active electronically scanned array radars, these fighters map hundreds of kilometers of airspace, ensuring an armored sky. They transmit their real-time intelligence to the Ghost Rider down below. No light aircraft used by drug traffickers flying low over the treetops, trying to break through the Continental blockade, can escape this cyber barrier. The fighter C, the Ghost Rider executes. My friends, it's the precision of a scalpel and the fury of a guillotine working in divine harmony. The geopolitics of the Americas has just entered a new era of imposing order through unquestionable military superiority. The pieces are positioned on the board. The 4-star headquarters already dictates the rules and logistical structure of the 19-nation military coalition that has sealed the sea and land routes. The message was written in fire and steel for every cartel leader and financier of dictatorial regimes who profits from the misery of Latin America. The infrastructure is ready. The missile safety locks have been disengaged. The giant hammer is already suspended in the air, hovering invisibly at 8 kilometers altitude. The big strategic question echoing in the back rooms of international intelligence is not whether organized crime will be hit and dismantled. The question that keeps the shadowy leaders of the continent, Lula, Moraes, the Latin American dictators, awake at night is who will be the first high-value target to vanish in a thunderous blast in the dead of night. At this very moment in our analysis, you need to state your position in the comments. Show the algorithm that you understand the gravity of the scenario we are dissecting. Type with military precision the two keywords that define the annihilation of these criminal networks that have financed elections for the last 20, 30, 40 years in Latin America. How does the Latin American left win election after election and never lose any? You're discovering this now in real time. Now the words, absolute interdiction and titanium guillotine. I repeat, absolute interdiction and titanium guillotine. Does naivety cost countries? Ignorance takes away your freedom. Prepare your mind. Protection is part of this strategy. The same doctrine of absolute interdiction that guarantees dominance in the skies dictates who survives today in your market. Pay attention. The most valuable thing in the world is not gold or uranium or even oil, it's people's attention. The rule of modern warfare is non-negotiable. Whoever doesn't control their own narrative is inevitably controlled by someone else's narrative. Today, I am recruiting entrepreneurs and professionals who are undeniably the best at what they do. You have an elite background and the best product in your hands, but you suffer from a deadly ailment: invisibility. While shallow and mediocre competitors make a lot of money simply because they learn how to make noise, you remain stuck in the shadows, bleeding cash and being taken down by the system. You urgently need to break out of your bubble. You need to stop being a passive target on the ground and take control of your territory. Being recognized as the unquestionable authority in your field is not a matter of chance. It's military-grade communication engineering. It's the tactical application of this exact narrative protocol that allows me to surpass 50 million views every month on social media. And to install this arsenal in your mind now, on August 16th, I will hold a 100% in-person immersion locked in here with me at my operations base in my studio. The operation is relentless. We have only 2 spots available, so hurry up, because when the last spot is taken, the steel door comes down for good, and that's it. The QR code's floating on your screen right now. The secure link is in the comments and in the video description. Click now and take control of your own story face to face with Shimon Oliveira. And hold on, I have a gift for you. A fantastic hardcore series has premiered. If you like my videos, you're going to love this series because it's bringing something new. The confrontation between Ukraine, Russia, the United States, China, Iran, this whole geopolitical world that we talk about here every day on the channel is being portrayed by movies, series, and streaming platforms. So I'm going to leave you with this recommendation, which is the series Lioness, where to watch it and what the first episode was like. All the tips for you to make the most of it are there. The manual on how to enjoy a series is on our channel. The link is in the description, in the pinned comment, and in the card that will appear here. I need you to help us blow up our channel with series and movie tips, so we'll check it out. Now, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on the video, because this takes a lot of work to make. And if you like my content, if you like what I bring here every day, and think that many Brazilians should access this content too, you can sponsor this video so it reaches more people by using super thanks, the like button, the sticker, you know, the little tools we have here. Now, shield your mind, yes. Blind, shield your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.